Hey everyone, welcome back to Apollo Art Analysis. In today's episode, we're going to be studying a piece by the career multimedia artist known as Future Self, and in this episode, we're going to be looking at the concept of color theory. We're also going to explore the possible meaning behind this work as a drift, so let's jump right into it. So at first glance, we're struck by these intense degrees of red here. Our first impression is likely one of shock due to the presence of such sheer energy. So notice how space is used within the work at hand. We see a majority of the composition commanded by this light blue dune, and one of the first things I notice here, you're likely to notice this too, is the impact of color, right? The impact of the color here, we have red and blue, pretty close to a complementary scheme, but not quite. But regardless, they're going to be fighting and clashing for the viewer's attention, especially due to the nature of such vibrant red here. And another thing I notice is the impact of texture, right? We see this quite clearly, especially on the right side of this dune here. That facing is rough, and that combines with the aforementioned color and, of course, intensity of light to incite the piece with an intense visual energy. I think we certainly feel that here. With this in mind, how do y'all feel when you view this piece? There's really no doubt that this mound, this dune or this hill takes a majority of the composition. It just commands our attention instantly. Of course, the grand scale of this scene also dwarfs us, which gives a kind of testament to the impact and the energy of the work before us. And we see this lone subject standing upon the top of this hill, this mound or this face here, and he has this bike reminiscent of a dirt bike right next to him, which is likely what aided his ascension to this point. And the title of this work is Drift, making some insights of what we're witnessing. Perhaps our subject is just seconds from drifting down this hill, although it's hard to say for sure. Regardless of what's next, our subject has finally reached the top, right? He looks far above the lands, he could look far over the horizon, or maybe he's just contemplating on a moment in passing. But regardless of such speculation, the grand scale of this scene is quite the thing to consider. Of course, that combines with this aforementioned intense degree of red to burn into lasting memory in all who stand before it. I think we certainly see that. With this in mind, what's next for our lone figure? When I saw this work, the lone subject standing at the top, it almost feels like a dark tone to this work, right? The blue, of course, is incredibly light, but this visceral red, it just floods the piece. It's reminiscent of blood and may give some darker themes to the work at hand. So I did have some speculation, perhaps he's standing up, just contemplating on a moment, perhaps he's just looking over, or perhaps he's about to drift into a dark time of his life. It's hard to say exactly what's going on here, but regardless of this, there is no doubt that this sheer sense of energy alone is going to burn into lasting memory, like I briefly mentioned. So really hope y'all enjoyed today. Of course, the nature of this work is quite abstract, so due to that abstract and kind of minimalist nature of this scene, one may even cite pop art when viewing this work. All would be pretty valid here. And of course, the work before us is a digital render. Future Self, he is a multimedia artist, so he creates renders as well as music. So the work before us is going to be a digital render, and the program used here is Cinema 4D. And I believe there were some additional edits in Adobe Photoshop, although I could not confirm that for sure. So regardless, at the very least, this is a work of digital render. But like I said, I really hope y'all enjoyed today. We talked about so many different things, from the abstract nature of this work to the lone subject peak in the top, the visceral red, the sheer sense of energy and texture within this work. So many different things we hit on today. I truly hope y'all enjoyed. If y'all enjoyed today's episode, make sure to check out the original artist Future Self. Like I said, doing some amazing stuff and music as well as a digital render. So if you want to check out his art, there's going to be a lot of different places to discover this artist. So like I said, if y'all enjoyed today's episode, make sure to check out the original artist Future Self. My name's Apollo. This was Apollo Art Analysis, and I'll see y'all on the next episode. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you'd like to support our work directly, please check out our Apollo community tokens. Apollo Art Exchange is an ecosystem of art appreciation which elevates artists each and every day. Thanks for listening.